friends, this is Lori from Stamp Sunshine on Facebook, and today I'm featuring this cute little card that I cased. It is from the Dragonfly Garden bundle, and the Dragonfly Garden bundle features this stamp set along with this punch, and the punch has a large and a small dragonfly. So we're going to be doing this card, and I want to show you a couple of the other items that I'm using to make this card. The Ornate Floral 3D Embossing Folder I used for the background, the layer there, and then I also used the Subtles 3D Embossing Folder for the layer on top of the card base in white. I am also using the Ornate Layers dies, and I used these two here on the outside edge, and I used those around the edge of this embossed folder, and also for this bumblebee layer here, the real ornate one. The other thing I wanted to point out that goes along with this bundle is a set of Designer Series paper. Now on this card, I used the Designer Series paper on the background for my stamped image there. However, today I'm going to be stamping some background paper for you to use. One of the really neat things is that the punch actually punches out dragonflies from some of this paper, and that's really a neat coordination that Stampin' Up! Has really done well. Here's just a few of the papers. There's some dragonflies in and among the flowers. And this is Bumblebee. They have a lot of beautiful coordinating colors. I think that's Rich Razzleberry. Besides the greens, the yellows, and the purples, they also have a coordinating group of blues in this set with this color. Just beautiful, the blues. Look at that little guy. All the bumblebees are so cute. All right, so I just wanted to give you a quick view of some of this paper. If you should decide you like it, it's part of the same suite of products. All right, so without further ado, we're going to get started on our card. All right, so I'm going to start out with our stamping for this card, and basically we're just going to create our own background paper by simply just putting these cute little images down on the paper all the way down. You can also use your Designer Series paper. So I'm going to put my paper down and use a magnet. Okay, and I just use my magnet to fit into the section here that is on the other side of this stamp. I took out my mat because whenever you use a red rubber stamp, you really don't need the mat underneath because the red rubber stamp already has cushioning. Now I'm just going to ink up my stamp with Mossy Meadow. Get it good and juicy if I can. But the good thing about the Stamparatus is that if I don't get a good image, I can go back later a second time and re-ink it if I need. I can either stamp on the Designer Series paper that came with this paper pack, or I can basically get the same exact design look with creating my own background paper using this tiny little stamp and the ink colors that I want. Okay, so I ran my die through my Big Shot because when I tried to use it with the mini, the die was a little too thick for the mini, and I didn't realize that. So be sure that you check with your dies, which dies fit in the mini and which dies fit in the regular size die cutting machines. So these were just a little too thick So again, I'm using my Take Your Pick. As you can see, you can just roll it over these really intricately cut dies to get all of the rest of those bits and pieces out. You may need to just take a pokey tool on your pieces and get the rest of those little bits out. So, and by the way, that Take Your Pick tool comes with that foam mat. Okay, so once I did that, I'm ready to start layering my card. And so I'm just going to take my piece of white cardstock and I'm going to burnish the edge on it, get it good and flat. And then I'm going to adhere these 3 layers. I'm just adhering these flat because I think the card has plenty of dimension and I don't feel like I need to pop up these layers. I do pop up the top layers, but I don't think that these need it. Now this subtles folder is going to make this just a very subtle layer, which I think is really pretty. I'm going to tell you, I think that whenever you lay down an embossed layer, you're going to want to use glue because these little indentions, they don't always stick really well with your tape adhesive, so I like to use liquid glue. And I'm just going to layer that over about a 1/2 inch from the side and line that up as best as I can. Pretty, huh? Now we're just going to take the bumblebee layer, same thing. I'm just going to turn it over and glue the back. Now I want to point out, whenever you have an embossed, not an embossed, but a die cut image, you're going to have a really nice edge here that is curved, and then you're going to have the back side, which isn't as nice of an edge. So when you're choosing which side to lay down your die cut image, be sure that you take a look at it because there is a difference. Both sides are not the same, okay? Then you're just going to center that now on top of that embossed layer. Okay, hold that for a second. And it leaves these cute little edges that sort of pop up and look really playful. I love that. So the last things that we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to just be layering the floral layer and the dragonfly. But I'm going to show you a couple of little things that I did with those 2 pieces. So of course I stamped this and I took my Wink of Stella, Stampin' Up! Sells Wink of Stella. So I already have plenty of the glitter down into the barrel, but I'm just going to take my bumblebee ink pad now, and what I did on my little dragonfly was I just took my Wink of Stella and I colored my dragonfly in here, and you can either use dark color, light color, you know, it just depends on how much water. You might want to put a drop or 2 of water in here with a water brush, a paintbrush or something. So basically I just used Wink of Stella on that. Then I just took my Wink of Stella and I went all over my dragonfly with the Wink of Stella to give her a little shine. The other thing I did was I went over the flowers with the same technique and I colored my sweet little flowers so it coordinates. I didn't bother coloring the leaves or anything. I just wanted a little extra of that color on those flowers only. Again, I'm going to clean up my brush as best I can. All right, so then I'm just going to go ahead and finish layering my card. This layer I'm going to pop up with dimensionals. Just make sure you get one in the middle because sometimes they sink down in the middle when they get mailed and you don't want to have a card that is sunken in the middle. Okay. And I'm just going to lay that right in the center here. Get it lined up as best I can. Then you're just going to have your little dragonfly. Now remember, your dragonfly is going to be half on this layer and half on the card over here. And since there's so much dimension on this card, you don't want to put a dimensional on top of here because then it's going to lay crooked. You want to put the dimensional over on the side that's going to have no dimensional on it over here on this side, and then the side that touches the card is going to lay flat to that card, okay? And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to use the same idea when placing the sentiment here. We're going to put the dimensional on this side, and it's going to be right about here. So I placed it kind of in between the two flowers. I think that looks pretty. We know a few people with COVID right now, and so I'm thinking I might be sending out a few get well soon cards, thinking of you cards. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here and under the wing of my dragonfly so that those stay in place. And there you have it. That's today's card. I love all the layers. I love the detail, and I hope you do too. So please join me again. Come over and see my Facebook page at Stamp Sunshine. Have a great day, and if you'd like to buy any of these products, go over to loriMagnuson.stampinup.net, and you can see the catalogs and a lot of other items on my web store right now. There is a celebration going on, and that is where you can get free items with your purchase over $50. Have a great day. Again, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you. Go and stamp sunshine.